We have to be prepared to look at racism as something that's far deeper than that, and not about bigotry, not about overt hatred, and not just about that type of random retail violence, because that's retail violence. We've got wholesale violence, and by that, I mean, if you're going to understand what happened in Baltimore in the last 6 months, you cannot start with Freddie Gray, and you cannot start even with the police department in Baltimore. You have to start with the fact that that is a community that was wrecked by so-called urban renewal. That was violence. When they come in and they put the interstate through your community, and they knock down your business, and they knock down your apartments, and they make folks huddled into small crowded housing, and they essentially lock them in a holding pen. I mean, we talk about housing and education, we talk about neighborhoods as if it's not about racism. We act like folks just ended up where they ended up. But let's be clear, this thing that we in this country call the ghetto, that was created, and it wasn't created by black people, and it wasn't created by poor people. It was created by folks who were usually not black and definitely not poor as a holding pen for the people they didn't want to live amongst them. So we have to be prepared to call that violence. If you don't call zoning laws and redlining violence, even though it does violence, and you don't call it racism, then how are we going to solve it? So
we thought it was important to learn from the mistakes of what happened with the remodeling of Blackwell, and although, you know, residents were supposed to be tracked, as Thad said, a lot of those residents are now unaccounted for, and 45% of the residents from Blackwell were dispersed throughout other public housing units in the city, and 23% of them were pushed out into Henrico, 13% went to Chesterfield, 5% went to Hanover. So we really need to keep all of those mistakes in mind, and the lack of tenant participation that Ms. Essex was talking about, that went towards that process. That is what resulted in a lot of displacement for residents. So right now, as the plan is to basically eliminate most of the current housing stock in the city, as far as public housing, we kind of need to think about that, and where are these residents going to go if there is not currently affordable housing right there for them when those new developments take place. So that really needs to be kept in mind as we move forward.